so another video on how grounding affects the body, particularly the thyroid. And this belongs to a series of studies. It's the same series of studies that I based my videos on calcium phosphate homeostasis and glucose regulation on. So now we're looking at thyroid function. So before we get into the study, let's talk about the thyroid a little bit. So the American Thyroid Association, when I checked this year, reports that 20 million Americans are suffering from a thyroid disease of some sort, and that more than 12% of the US population will develop a thyroid condition at some point in their life. So hopefully that's none of you, because you'll be listening to Uncle Rob, and we'll find out that grounding does impact the thyroid in a little bit here. So the thyroid is an endocrine gland located in the neck, particularly the inferior anterior portion. It creates and secretes thyroid hormones, and it's involved in iodine metabolism. It has an effect on pretty much all nucleated cells in the body and influences their metabolism function, specifically by increasing basal metabolic rate, or BMR, and protein synthesis. So the hormones produced here, majority is going to be inactive thyroid hormone, or tetraiodothyronine, thyroxine, T4, roughly 90%, which is going to get converted to either active thyroid hormone or alternative inactive thyroid hormone. And the other roughly 10% is going to be active thyroid hormone, or triiodothyronine, T3, both of which you need iodine in order to make. That's why it's important to get it in your diet. Shellfish, dairy, eggs, liver. So is selenium, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. But it also produces calcitonin, which opposes parathyroid hormone to decrease blood calcium levels and maintain calcium homeostasis. And we know how important that is from the video I did a while back on grounding and calcium homeostasis. So the thyroid is intimately involved with the pituitary gland, which essentially tells the thyroid to release more or less hormones into the bloodstream. And these hormones are carried by proteins in the blood, so they can be released in the blood as well. But T4 and T3 make the cells in the body work harder. In instances where you need body temperature to increase, you need a faster and stronger heart rate, you need to burn through food more quickly to activate the nervous system when you need to concentrate, weight maintenance, lipid metabolism, gluconeogenesis. It's also super important for growth and development, especially in children. There are too many things that the thyroid does to talk about all of them here, and we don't have time, so let's get into the study. All right, so we've got a double-blind study with 6 men and 6 women. It's kind of small, but we work with what we've got. That's what she said. No, that's what he said. I messed that one up. I wouldn't know. Oh, and grounding, really quick. Discharging your body to the same electrical potential as the earth, done by being barefoot or in conductive contact with the earth. Ton of benefits that I made a lot of videos about, so I'm not going to go into all of them here due to the amount of time that would take. But what you need to know, grounding, what happens, density of negative charge increases in the body, increased capacity to manage oxidative stress and inflammation, and it charges the water protein matrix battery. Okay, so a double-blind study with 6 men and 6 women who were randomly assigned to a group that would be either grounded or insulated throughout an entire night of sleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So what's being measured here is thyroid stimulating hormone, which we didn't really talk about earlier. Thyroid stimulating hormone is produced by the pituitary gland, and it stimulates the thyroid to produce more T3 or T4. So thyroid stimulating hormone inversely correlates with active thyroid hormone concentrations. So as thyroid stimulating hormone increases, active thyroid hormone T3 decreases, and vice versa. So thyroid stimulating hormone is being measured, T3 and T4 levels are being measured, and a little bit about the measurements here. So instead of measuring total T4, which would include T4 bound to protein, What's measured instead is free T4, taken from a blood serum test, which can be used as a proxy for free T3 or active thyroid hormone. So they got these measurements, which they had a baseline for, from blood samples that were taken at 6 a.m. the following morning of grounded sleep or insulated sleep. So what did they find in these fantastic individuals that were either grounded or fake grounded? They found that concentrations of T4, free T4, increased, as did thyroid stimulating hormone, and concentrations of free T3 decreased. So what does it mean? It means that grounding influences thyroid function. Beyond that, I don't think the people that conducted the study even know. But increasing the density of negative charge in the body, presence of more electrons, which is what happens when you ground, supplying more electrons to the mitochondria will influence the bioenergetics at play while sleeping grounded. It could mean a lot of different things, but let's go back to T3 and T4 a little bit. So T4, thyroxine, is a prohormone to T3. T4 contains 4 molecules of iodine, and the removal of one of those molecules of iodine creates the metabolically active form of thyroid hormone, T3, or triiodothyronine. And most of that conversion is going to take place outside of the thyroid gland, in the body as it's carried in the bloodstream. But this ratio of T3 to T4 can be used to assess the status of your thyroid. So what's happening to our ratio here? We have diminishing levels of active T3 and increasing concentrations of inactive T4 and thyroid stimulating hormone. That means our T3-T4 ratio went down, but T4 and thyroid stimulating hormone went up. Deiodinase enzymes, which contain selenium, convert T4 to T3. That's why it's important to get selenium in your diet. Inflammation can disrupt deiodinase activity and alter thyroid hormone levels. So perhaps a change in your body's inflammatory response, which is what happens when you ground, maybe that has something to do with it. Also, oxidative stress is tied to a lot of the conditions associated with altered thyroid function, like hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's disease, thyroid cancer. And we know that grounding is awesome and great in helping with oxidative stress. So maybe that has something to do with the results of this study. At least that's what I've tried to piece together with these results. It's up in the air, really, but given that your body has literally evolved to be electrically discharged to the earth, I don't think it's a bad thing what's going on. It's just my opinion. But what we can pull from this study is that grounding does influence our thyroid, and thyroid conditions are becoming more and more prevalent. So I think this should be good motivation for more research. Alright, I think that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys found it interesting, fascinating. Once again, very interesting things happening in the body when you electrically ground. And remember, grounding is good. Grounding is fun. Go have some fun. Until next time.